Rap Jazzy Jazz Crockett here, fiery Democrat from the great state of Texas. Now, first order of business is we're going to play us a little game of trans or Trump or trans, however you like it. Now, who has been the victim of political persecution? That's going to be Trump. No, that's the trans. The trans has been political persecution, not Trump. 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 Friend, here on The Conservative Poet, we speak truth with boldness and confronts today's cultural chaos. And today's chaos, we are covering the one and only, the Congresswoman from the great state of Texas, Jasmine Ghetto Crockett. We are responding to one of her theatrics in the political space that has literally taken us by shock. That she, even Jasmine Crockett, could go this way. Now, if you missed it during the subcommittee hearings with DOGE, Crockett attempted to give the Republicans a hypocrisy check. Imagine that. Claiming that Republicans are gutting protections for women while somehow trying to protect them from transgenders in athletics. She even played a game of Trump or trans, Trump or trans, Trump or trans. This game really was to distract from real policy debates because Jasmine Crockett has none. Or I should say, the whole Democrat crew has no policy debates. They cannot debate these policies, these Looney Tune policies that they have. So here's the truth. Jasmine Crockett's rant was really not about protecting women or protecting those transgenders. It's about pushing a radical narrative that demand that we the people abandon facts and truths, abandoning science and biology and the well-being of our daughters. And for what? For political points, because that is all that they have. That is all that they offer, is trying to make political points, but they have no true value for anyone, and especially our women. Hello, friend, and welcome to The Conservative Poet. My name is Amania. Here on the channel, we do political reactions, we do a little commentary, some parody to drive home the crazies that we're seeing in the society. If that is something that is interesting to you, then please stick around. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Friend, I do have a treat at the end of this video, so you'll have to stick around and watch the whole thing to see it. And don't forget to like, comment, and share. So, Crockett, Jasmine Crockett, she accuses Republicans of undoing women's protections and not protecting women at all. But yet, it's her side that's doing that. Conservatives are fighting to protect women's rights with Title IX, which was specifically designed to protect biological women in sports and in education. But now, 2025, under the left's radical agenda, they are trying to put men in women's sports. Men who identify as women, mentally insane, who identify as women are now being allowed to enter into women's spaces, which is insanity. But this is what Jasmine Crockett and the left and their radicalness has done. This is what they want. This doesn't protect women. This doesn't protect girls. With these biological men in sports as well, they're taking away opportunities and scholarships and things that young girls work really, really hard for to get so they can get into colleges and have their dream. But no, They have to compete against men. Riley Gaines, right? She had to swim and lost medals to a man. So when Republicans advocate to keep men out of women's spaces and women's sports, we are standing up for truth and safety, not hate. You can respect someone's identity without trying to erase women and girls in the spaces. Somebody has a mental case, they have a mental problem. You want to be identified as this? Okay, you identify as this, but don't tell the rest of the society that they have to set aside programs to make you somehow prevalent in spaces that you don't even belong. These spaces are carved out for women and girls competing against each other, not against biological men. You identify as such, you know what? Go and compete against other transgenders or other biological men, but stay out of women's spaces. Crockett also criticized Republicans for slashing funding for women's health care, aka Planned Parenthood, and taxpayer funded abortions. So, how is opposing taxpayer funded abortions through Planned Parenthood an attack on women's rights or women's health rights? Let us make something very clear, crystal clear, that abortions are not women health care, right? It's not women's health care. It is not health care to have abortions. It is not health care. 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 What it actually is the unaliving of a human baby inside the womb. That is what it is. The unalive of babies in the womb, the genocide of humans, preborn humans, that is, in the womb. That, my friends, why would anybody oppose that? We support the funding for real women's health care, like getting testing done, getting mammograms done, getting your PAPs done. Those are the kinds of things that's health care. Killing babies, killing your unborn baby? I don't think so. Those kinds of things is what save women's lives. What Jasmine Crockett advocates for is to unalive lives. Planned Parenthood is a abortion first type of health care. They're not advocating for real actual care of women. Their number one is unaliving babies, and now they're really getting into the cutting off children's parts revenue. That's who these people are advocating for. Unaliving babies and then cutting off their parts, removing their parts. This is what they call healthcare. Defunding places like Planned Parenthood is not an attack on women, but it is a way to protect women's health and to save babies' lives. That, my friend Jasmine Crockett, is something you all will never seem to understand. What true health care really is. It's not taking away life, but it is preserving life. Thank you, everyone who has been supporting the conservative poet. I really, I owe you a debt of gratitude. And if you haven't supported the channel, you can do so now. We have new merch that you can purchase, candles, mugs, all kinds of great merch. Please visit theorlandopatriot.com and get yourself 30% off. Thank you so much. Here she is doing and earning the money that she's being paid $174,000 a year to do. Friends, here is Jasmine Crockett doing her
So
job.
much. It is so interesting that I just learned today at 44 years old that the Republicans are going to be the ones to save women. The same Republicans that have been saved for women's reproductive acts, or the same Republicans that have stood for the Equal Rights Act, which would hopefully get women to equal pay, or the same Republicans that just this Congress voted for the SAVE Act, which we know would disenfranchise women from even being able to vote. But let me tell you, they are our saviors, and so I am so happy to be here today, because otherwise I would not have an idea that I had a savior in the Republicans. So let's also talk about the fact that it's only been 100 days, 100 long, terrible days for anybody that absolutely believes in reality, because what we know is that they have terminated staff responsible for enforcing federal protections against sex-based discrimination. Sounds like that's pro-women. Or they've cut funding for domestic violence survivor services. Sounds pro-woman to me. Or they've prohibited funding for research affecting women's health. That definitely sounds pro-women to me. Essentially, they closed the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. Again, sounds like they are fighting for us. And instead of providing oversight over these actions, congressional Republicans have been working to execute one of the most aggressive anti-women legislative agendas in history. And yet, they're here today trying to convince the American people that discriminating against trans people is somehow the only way to protect women. This hearing has nothing to do with improving government efficiency. It's another attempt by Republicans to distract from their demonic and disastrous policies that are making it more difficult for Americans to make ends meet. So, Ms. Goss-Graves, I want to play a game. It's called Trump or Trans. You ready?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. You understand?
Got it.
Okay, very good. The first one, gutted medical research.
Trump.
Kidnapping Americans and sending them to foreign countries, a.k.a. deporting them.
Trump.
Driving us into a recession.
Trump.
Increasing the cost of everything.
Trump.
Waging an idiotic tariff war.
Trump.
Harming farmers.
Trump.
Ignoring the Constitution.
Trump.
Proposing to take away Social Security.
Trump.
Cutting health care.
Trump.
Firing government workers who keep our country safe.
Trump.
Encouraging an environment of hate and divisiveness.
Trump.
Thank you so much. This committee could be engaged in actual oversight of fraud, waste, abuse, and mismanagement. So let's talk about waste. Like Trump's plan to spend almost $100 million for his little birthday parade. Or how he spent 25% of his first 100 days golfing, costing taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. In fact, it's a little bit over $30 million at our last estimation. In fact, President Trump is on pace to spend more than $1 billion of taxpayer dollars just on golfing. Yet the Republicans have been silent. So they must think spending taxpayer dollars on the president's golfing trips is more important than providing health care to their constituents. And when I talk about constituents, we're going to talk about the ones on this committee. So if we look at Texas 26, 39,000 children look to potentially lose their Medicaid with the cuts that they are about to vote on for reconciliation. 88,000 in Georgia 3, 68,000 in Missouri 7, 79,000 in Tennessee 2, 86,000 in South Carolina 4, 50,000 in Texas 04, 85,000 in Texas 27, and in Georgia 14, 111,000. And if you add that up just on this committee, we have 606,000 kids that are relying on us to do right by them. And instead, we playing these crazy games because we worried about 10 trans folk that are in sports right now in college. I wasn't elected to be engaged in these fights. I was elected to make sure that those kids, the kids that they are about to neglect with these terrible votes that they're about to take, I was elected to protect them and to make sure that they could grow up and have all the opportunities. But let's keep on track. Now, when we look at how much they are spending on, let's look at fraud. We could investigate whether the White House and the members of this subcommittee engaged in insider trading and market manipulation. Maybe it's a coincidence that the chairwoman brought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stock the day before Trump announced a 90-day pause on tariffs. But I guess we'll never know. So finally, let's talk about abuse. Like how the Republicans have let Elon steal data of Americans and his competitors to make himself even richer. Look, don't let these hearings distract you from their destruction. This is rage baiting instead of conducting oversight over the issues that Americans actually care about. And with that, I will yield.
So you've seen that, right? You heard all of it. So Jasmine Crockett is literally trying to pit President Trump and transgenders and say who's doing the most damage, Trump or trans folks. She really does fail to see the kind of damage that is happening to young women. They go into these spaces and they work hard, whatever sports they're in, they work hard because they have a dream of going to play, going to the Olympics and doing all of these things. And what she doesn't seem to see or comprehend is that a man will essentially take her spot. That's what's happening. But they don't want to acknowledge these things. Oh, they want to make jokes. They want to make fun. Oh, there's nothing to see here. It's just a little trans kid trying to get along in the world, you know? But what about the young girl who's going to be replaced? Why aren't you advocating for her, Representative Jasmine Crockett? Why aren't you fighting for her as opposed to a young boy who is confused about what he is or what he wants to be? You should be advocating for real girls. I mean, you're one of them, right? Well, allegedly, I suppose. So she focuses, she says we are focusing on trans athletes while little kids are going hungry in red states or in red districts and red areas. Well, here's the truth, friends. It's not just red areas or blue areas, it's as a whole. Republicans and conservatives are concerned about girls on all spectrums, okay? Whether you're in a blue state or a red state, it doesn't matter. We are here to protect girls at all cost. We also want a welfare system that works for everyone, because she talks about, well, these kids is going hungry in these areas while we're focusing on trans stuff. Well, you know what? If we had a better policy system for distributing food and distributing these kinds of things to the community, once again, let's be clear, these areas, a lot of these areas, these impoverished areas, is because of failed Democrat policies. We are trying to fix these things now. We are trying to empower the communities to get out there and work, not be on some system where if you make a little bit too much, they kick you off the system. Where if you have Section 8 housing and you make a little bit more, oh, you can't get it anymore because of X, Y, and Z because you make a little bit more money, and people continue to want to be living in less because then all of these programs go away. These are Democrat policies that are literally breaking the community. So we're focused on a robust way. We want to empower girls and we want to be able to make their families have the ability to take care of them. We can protect girls and protect their nutrition at the same time. We want space, safe spaces for our children, for our girls, and we want a place where they can thrive without having to be shy in the locker rooms, in the bathrooms, with some boy eyeing their little bodies. No, that is not what we want. That is not protecting them. We're going to stand on this. We're going to protect girls at all costs in all of our spaces. And Jasmine Crockett, you want to protect boys? Then you go right ahead. You want to protect transgenders? Then you go right ahead. But we're going to stand in the gap because we are going to protect our girls. People like Jasmine Crockett and the left don't even pretend that they even care about women at all, because all they do is they cheer on biological men as they win medals against biological women. as they enter women's spaces and girls' spaces, locker rooms, bathrooms, the whole bit, shelters, even in the women's prisons now. This is where everywhere that women has those spaces, that's where the men wants to be. These transgenders, these biological men. And so the left and Jasmine Crockett, they cheer this on. They want this. They want us, we the women, to be erased. They want that. Why? I couldn't tell you. What they are offering to these transgenders who with this mental disorder, it's not compassion, it's not love, it's a mockery. They're literally using these people and their disease to gain political points. That is what they're doing. These people are going to be on these puberty blockers, these drugs, and all of these things for the rest of their lives. And if they get to a point where they want to revert, I mean, the damage has been done. It is sickening what these people are doing. It is absolutely sickening. It is not compassion at all. And you know what? What she revealed in that skit of hers is Democrat hypocrisy, not Republican hypocrisy, but the left and their madness. That is who the hypocrites are. They don't care about the transgenders. They don't care about women. They don't care about girls. Hell, they don't care about we, the American people, as we have seen multiple times. Look at these inner cities. Look at her own district, probably, how bad it is. Look at these people and the way they run their communities. They don't care about anybody but themselves to continue to grow and get wealth. They come in broke and they leave millionaires. That is what they care about, getting their bag. And it doesn't matter who they have to sacrifice to do so. This day, it is those people with mental disorders, these transgenders. They're going to serve them up good to whoever so that they can continue to get themselves rich. It is disgusting and it is sickening. As I close, friends, I want to leave you with this. One, don't be bullied or let yourself be bullied by these woke words, woke rhetoric, woke skits from people like Jasmine Crockett and the left. Defend the truth, even if it's unpopular. We got to do that. We've got to stand up for what's right. Protect women and girls, not by denying biology, but by affirming it. Yes, we are the women and we stand proud and we defend anyone and everyone that is women like us. And we fight those who want to take our spaces, who wants to take over our spaces. We fight them. And just as a reminder, it is not hateful or prejudice or mean or anything like that to demand fairness for women to have our own spaces. No, they can have their own space. They can work hard in those same arenas and make out their own space. The women's space is already taken. Remember that. And we have to fight for that. We can't let men invade our spaces in this way. It's not right. We stand up for truth. We stand up for rights. We stand up for women and for girls. So, friends, thank you so much for joining me today. And because you stayed until the end, I have a surprise skit for you, taking on the persona of the Jasmine Crockett herself. So you're in luck because you stayed till the end and you get to see this. So tell me in the comments, what do you think? How did you like it? How did I do? Did I portray her? Did I get it right? Talk to me in the comments. I will see you in another video. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Really do help me out here with the YouTube algorithm. We have a Memorial Day sale going on. Pick up your Sister Warrior t-shirts, mugs, everything I have in the shop, mugs, t-shirts, all of that stuff. Go to orlandopatriot.com and get your candles too, and get yourself patriotic candles. Hello. pick those up and enjoy those for Memorial Day. God bless you and keep you. I will see you in another video. Well, Rap Jazzy Jazz Crockett here, fiery Democrat from the great state of Texas. Now, first order of business is we're going to play us a little game of trans or Trump, or Trump or trans, however you like it. Now, who has been the victim of political persecution? That's going to be Trump. No, that's the trans. The trans has been political persecution, not Trump. Who had a fake hush money trial? Trump. Fake Russia collusion hoax? Trump. Who wants to invade women's spaces? Who got SCOTUS to gut Roe v. Wade? Trump. Who done did it? Who wants to pee in peace in women's restrooms? Who was impeached twice? The disgrace. Who was impeached twice? Trump. 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 It was Trump. You see what's happening here, friend? I'm just highlighting the failures of Trump and the Republicans. And I'm just getting started up. I'm just warming up, friends. I got so much more. I'm just warming up. While y'all are out here chasing Scooby-Doo villains in bathrooms, over 600 kids in your own red states are about to lose their benefits to the illegals. You know, the ones that we done brought in. Whole millions of them. Yeah. Y'all can't focus on those things. Y'all just want to be out here boo-hoo whining and crying and trying to take away these little trans kids' rights. These little trans kids have rights too. They have all the right in the world. This ain't about values. Nope. This is a distraction. You want to cut VAWA funding? You blocked equal protection pay rights. The illegals, they should get paid the same amount of money that black folks do, or they should get paid better. But you Republicans, you blocked that. You blocked that legislation. We were advocating for the illegals and you blocked it. You buried research on black maternal health. Black women, they should be able to kill their babies in the womb or outside of the womb. It's their body, their choice. And you Republicans have no right to be telling women what to do with their bodies, especially black sisters like me. Now you want to pretend you were on the side of women. Yeah, you were letting our black sisters do all this, but now you want to side, you on the side of women by keeping little trans kids out of their sports, by keeping trans people out of their bathrooms, by keeping the men outside of women's bathrooms. Now that's what you want to do. Now you want to advocate for women. You just trying to beat up on the trans folks. That's all you trying to do. You just trying to beat up on trans folks. Well, we're going to stand in the gap because we're going to stand for the gap. We're going to stand in the gap for the trans people. We're going to stand in the gap for you to kill babies. We're going to stand in the gap for the illegals. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Friend, my name Jasmine Crockett, the representative from Texas, and I am here working for non-Americans. It was Trump. It was Trump. It was Trump.